Welcome to the Scoop World Order. Nice win today in the shoe. The Bucks defeat the Thundering Herd by a significant advantage. It was a game that was close for a minute. Again, it was kind of like Akron. They led at the beginning, and then the Avalanche came. I thought the team got better as the day went on. There's still a lot of stuff to correct. No major injuries. I thought it was a good workmanlike effort. I mean, 49-14 is nothing to sneeze at. Given that I think that that's a good Marshall team. I don't think they're terrible. I don't think that they're a bottom. I think that they'd give a team like Purdue some run, some bottom tier Big Ten teams. They could probably beat them. So, again, I thought it was a very good performance. I love that there's no injuries. Our offense is insane. We're going to break all that down. We're going to take your questions, and I'm going to break down some film for you guys. I was ripping film during the game to make sure that it was ready to go for the show. So we'll do some All-22 breakdowns. As always, first, if you guys enjoy this show, you enjoy this post-game show, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. We will have this up on our audio feed on Apple Podcasts. Make sure to subscribe to that and Spotify as well. Subscribe to both of them. Those both help us out in a major way. But we're going to get right down into it. Again, I'm not going to go too hard on Marshall. I love my Southern Ohio folks, and I know a lot of them they live down around Marshall. There's a lot of Ohio State fans down there, so that's why I say shout out to my Southern Ohio boys, as always. But the Buckeyes is too much today, Nevada. I thought it was a very nice workmanlike effort. Obviously, people are going to be disturbed by the 3 kicks out of bounds, which I don't think I've ever seen that before at any level of football. 3 straight kickoffs out of bounds. But, Will Howard might have missed one throw that people crow about, but he was 80%, and I thought he looked excellent. And, I thought our receivers all flashed. And I said yesterday the Emeka Egbuka anytime touchdown was the prop to bet just because he hadn't scored a touchdown yet, and he's the senior captain, first-round pick. And JJ's, been balling, but, you got to feed him back a little bit. And sure as can be an 80-yard tunnel screen right off Rip Street, and it was really good. What are your initial thoughts as the game has just ended?
My initial thoughts are that Joel Klatt really hates Ohio State, man. It's like listening to him just bag on Ohio State the entire game I don't know why that was bothering me, but it was just like, what's happened to that guy? I mean, you listen to him. You thought today was 3-2 versus Akron in 2007 or whatever the hell year that was, or whatever it was. I mean, yeah, we gave up 14 points. Yeah, we gave up 250 yards. Yeah, Will Howard missed a pass, but I mean, we still won 49-14. I thought Marshall played really well. I thought they made a lot of really tough contested catches. Had a good game plan. I'm still convinced their guy was out of the back of the end zone on the second touchdown, but that was just kind of par for the course with with this refereeing crew. I don't think I've ever seen a refereeing crew that was more out of sorts in the game, and I think it just led to a really wonky, weird kind of game that was tough to get momentum. But the offense found it. Defensively, Tyleek being out of there, we were missing. I mean, that was a big hole. They were abusing Hero Canoe. I thought Sonny was just okay. I thought the linebackers in general were just okay, and yeah, it was just like you said. It was a workmanlike effort. It wasn't. I always say every year you have one of those games. This wasn't quite one of those games because the offense is just so prolific, and I feel like every time we get the ball, every snap, I feel like we're going to score. But defensively, like I said, we're kind of used to completely shutting teams down. We did in the second half. We didn't do in the first half, but when your bad games are 14 points and 250 yards, I think I can live with that. But stuff to build off of. Not concerned, but offense A+, defense B-, overall probably a B+, A- grade for the game. But like you said, win, survive, move on, no major injuries, so not the end of the world.
Yeah, like I said, I don't, these games are not, you want to get through them. You want to have a good performance, obviously. No injuries, I think, is always huge. We didn't have Tyleek. We missed Tyleek severely today. I mean, I don't think people realize how disruptive Tyleek's been the first few games, but he's been excellent. He's in better shape, and, he's dinged, so they held him, which is fine. But, there's some guys that need to play better. And let's just be real. Like JT2 Malone needs to show up a little bit more on film. He lost contained twice in the first quarter. And, again, for the guy that was the number one overall recruit, I mean, you keep waiting for him to take over and dominate, hit a good pass rush move, whatever. But I thought the defense played hard. Again, I thought that there's a lot of things that could be cleaned up. I thought Marshall played hard. Again, we've only said it 600 million times in the last 4 years, but running the quarterback is so overpowered that it's ridiculous, because that was their game plan, just run the quarterback. Because again, there's some people that are obsessed with, let's keep them pristine and let's make sure that they're okay for the NFL and let's keep them in bubble wrap. And then there's guys like Marshall's coach, like, our only chance is if we run the quarterback. If we don't run the quarterback, then we won't probably get a first down. But they did it. They were successful with it. We knew it was coming. But again, there were times I was sitting at the game and I was like, this is going to be a key run. They're literally, I could just count. I was like, they are outnumbered. They don't have enough guys to defend it. So guess what happens? All of a sudden they run it, they run for 10, 12 yards, and they're not crazy, plays where it's like you need a bunch of guys to get pancake blocks or whatever. It's just like basically like a Q follow play where literally the running back follows the quarterback follows the tailback. The tailback's like basically like an old school fullback, leads the way, and you have an extra guy that they can't account for. So again, I thought that their game plan was good. Obviously, they're severely outmanned. But I think our pass rush needs to be better. Again, I don't think that's I'm not any sort of brain surgery here, but Quinshon Judkins was, I thought, the best player on the field today. I thought he was excellent. Trey was also great. I mean, our running back, I don't know if we'll ever see a duo this good ever again at Ohio State. I mean, that's how good these two are. They're legitimately, I think, the two best running backs in the country. Again, the only thing keeping them from winning major awards is I just don't think they're going to get enough workload. But they both went over 100, I believe, and light on the carries and explosive gains. And it's just crazy having that much talent in one backfield. And it helps us keep from having to run Will Howard. Like, we don't have to run him very much because we've got two horse running backs. I thought the line took a step. I thought Donnie played really well from what I watched. It's interesting. They're rotating Carson and Tigra now, or excuse me, not Carson. Austin Sauerveld. Tigra started. Austin was in there a lot at right guard. I think that they're trying to figure out who's the right solution there. I think Tigra is still going to be ahead of Austin after they grade the film. Josh Fryer gave up a sack on a really nice move by that kid. They hit that outside spin move, and that's tough, again. But obviously, you don't want to give up a spin to a kid from Marshall. But that was an NFL level pass rush move. So again, I don't see those moves as often out of our guys. I wish that I did. Whereas it's like, wow, that was a really tough spin move. I don't know how you're supposed to handle that. And so yeah, JJ was JJ, another touchdown. Carnell, nice game. Emeka, I mean, just a lot of good stuff on offense. I mean, the kicking game was strange. Brandon Ennis lost that ball in the sun. It bounced off his chest, which is not an excuse. It's just that's what happened. You still have to field it. Figure out a way to field it. Give him a dark Oakley visor, whatever it takes. And the 3 kickoffs out of bounds were, I mean, that was one of the weirdest things I've ever seen in football. Because I really, after the third one, I worried about the kid. Does he have the yips, which is a very common thing among athletes where, all of a sudden they can't make a routine play. Because I was talking about earlier in the exact game today, I was like, man, it's nice that we just kick it out of the end zone now. Because we used to always do the little suicide kick where we kick it down to the corner. That was an urban thing, and try to tackle him inside the 20 or tackle him inside the 15. But I was always just like, when they would return one like Saquon Barkley did to start the game, I was like, why don't we just kick it out of bounds like every other team and take all of the mystery out of it? We can save 3 or 4 yards by tackling them inside the 20. I was like, just kick it out of bounds every time. And we were doing it, but man, our guy was struggling today. Jaden Felding was kicking it out of bounds. And what were your thoughts of that event? I don't think I've ever seen that before.
Well, because it's never happened before. I mean, it's crazy that we're the only team in the history of college football that can't find a guy that can kick it out of the end zone. Everybody else has got somebody that kick it out of the back of the end zone. But then they pull the guy out, they go to the backup, and he puts it in the end zone 3 times in a row. So it's not that hard to do. But giving up field position on the 35 like that, that's a killer, because then they get a first down and they're at midfield, and I really thought that, from a defensive standpoint, I think it felt worse than it was. I mean, because you know what Marshall's rushing stats were today?
Oh,
I
I
think there
mean,
were I think
go ahead.
40 rushes for like 120 yards.
Yeah, I can see that. I
So,
mean, they
so
pop
uh,
some
I mean,
some quarterback runs. You take the quarterback runs out, it's probably 30 carries for 10 yards.
yeah,
You know.
it was 3 yards a carry, but I mean, it felt worse than that, and so I think people were lining up on the ledge, and we want to fire Knowles, and we want to get rid of everybody, and our team sucks, and we'll never beat Oregon, and Georgia's going to beat us by 100, and it's like, I mean, sometimes it just happens, man. I thought they were really going after Canoe. We were playing a bunch of guys, on the defensive line. But no, I didn't think the defensive line played particularly well today. And you're right, JT, for all the hype, for all the excitement, for all the energy, man, he's got to be better. I mean, he is literally living off of one game against Penn State, 2 years ago or whatever that was, or 3 years ago, whatever. So um, he's got to be better. And but yeah, it's important in this thing to keep things in perspective, because when your bad games are 14 points and 250 yards of total offense, it's really not that bad. I mean,
Mhm.
we can learn from it, we can live from it. Um, I'd rather. I mean, keep in mind we could be Michigan. I'm watching
No.
Michigan's offense operate right now.
Whew.
Oh my! They are so bad. And people thinking that Alex Orji coming in was going to be the answer. Let me tell you what, he ain't the answer, guys.
No.
So I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he knows the question. So they're in deep trouble. So that always makes me smile. But boy, how good is this Ohio State offense? I mean, is anybody still saying that Chip Kelly is a fraud and that Chip Kelly can't call offense? Because that was a take when he got hired, and I mean, what a transformation! You see this Ohio State offense last year. We'd struggle in short yardage. Everything was not easy, and now doesn't it feel like everything's on easy mode with this Ohio State offense? It's
Yeah.
it's because you've got a quarterback that runs the RPO game. Is he perfect? No, he's not perfect. Is he? Will he make mistakes? Invariably he'll make mistakes. But he's really good at running that RPO stuff. And when we're properly executing the RPO, it puts so much pressure on the defense to be perfect. And when you're not perfect, we score 49 points on 7 big plays. And I really felt like we could have named our score today. And that's really a tribute to Chip Kelly. I thought Donnie Jackson and Josh Simmons. I don't know what it looked like on tape, but on television they looked unbelievable, like absolutely incredible, and yeah, just wild how good they were and how dominant they were on the left side.
Yeah, I thought Donnie really did a great job in his first game back. And again, I'll rewatch the game. Again, it's always tough when you're at the game to get everything the way you'd like to get it. But I'm gonna break down some Josh. I think Josh Simmons is really good. He's really playing good football right now. And again, this is why 2-3 years ago when people were saying, "Oh my God, who's ever going to be our tackles in 2025? Are we going to be able to field a team?" I was like, "Well, our left tackle's probably the best tackle in the Big Ten this year." And again, he was a guy that came from San Diego State. He wasn't a 5-star, but he's developed, and he's a freaky, freaky athlete. So this is just a real little simple play. Again, we've got a great tailback. You got maybe, if not the best, the second best tailback. Him and Quinshawn are 1 and 1A to me. It's just real simple play. You got a little truck play here, edge, pull, a really athletic tackle, a guy that'll probably run a 4.8 at the combine. Josh Simmons, and just everybody else works up the backside, try to get to that backside edge, and you run this. And I mean, this is tough. I mean, you got to kind of anticipate this a little bit better. Again, you got to get outside and hook this guy. Like, that's your job, and you got to know that he's going to react to this. This is a quick pitch, so he's going to step out immediately. So again, I would never step inside. Again, that's poorly coached. You should never take that step. He should be stepping here, anticipating him taking a step immediately there. So immediately the tight end blows the block, which again, I've been critical of our tight end blocking and our tight end coaching, because this isn't it, guys. Especially on a quick pitch like this, that guy's going to try to contain the ball immediately. So the tight end isn't great here. We got our edge here. The guy that's great here is Josh Simmons. Josh Simmons, here we got Mech coming in motion, getting in the way of the corner. Josh Simmons, he's thinking that this guy's supposed to get pinned. This guy's supposed to get pinned and edge. Josh is trying to get deep and come around here. Instead, Josh has to be a great athlete. This guy beats the tight end. This is terrible by the tight end. And he gets up as an athlete, and he still gets to his guy. This is tough. And you got Seth McLaughlin trying to get flat down the line. Seth has a very difficult block because he has to get, he's aiming to try to get skinny and get up to the safety. And this is excellent by him. As you see him float up there. Again, when you've got this kind of two-way go here where Trey could pick it here or pick it here, it puts him in a bind. And, he's eclipsed by Josh Simmons, so he can't really do anything. But he doesn't know where to go. And that's an advantage for Seth. So he guesses wrong, and he comes here, and Trey's vision's excellent here. He sees this crease, and he creases the whole thing, and he gets a nice stiff arm there. He hits the afterburners. Again, this is a first round. That's the guy that you're taking at the top of your fantasy draft next year. If he goes, again, my dream is that he goes to the Kansas City Chiefs as like the 32nd pick and plays with Mahomes, because that's the kind of ability that this kid has. And again, that's great by Josh Simmons, great by Seth McLaughlin. Again, the tight end's got to be better there. But, when you've got a great running back, and I played with bad running backs, I played with first round running backs. And the first round guys like Trey make that play. They don't run to darkness. They don't close their eyes and fall down after 3 yards. They put their foot in the ground, they hit the burners, and they go to the crib. And again, that was absolutely sensational. Nevada, you have any thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, I'm just a fabulous play all the way around. Just watching the rushing attack, today was just. I have not seen the final stats, so I'm not even sure what the final because I didn't see it on the ESPN box score, but it's got to be crazy. It's got to be absolutely crazy. The offensive line was operating at such a high level, but the scheme was just so beautiful. I love that. That misdirection around the goal line where we're going right and then pulling guys out left and following those guys in the hole. And like you said, having a quarterback that presents a viable rushing option that keeps those guys from coming flat down the line like that, beautiful. But having mobile offensive linemen, a good scheme, an RPO game, man, it just makes. How do you stop this Ohio State offense? If you sell out to stop the run, you're going to really leave JJ and Emeka and Carnell and those guys on an island out there, or if you still you lay back to stop the pass, then we're going to feast with Quinshawn and Trey. So no, it was beautiful. I thought it was a virtuoso performance, and you can just see this Ohio State offense is just getting better and better every week.
Yeah, and I'm going to go back in. I had a play between this one. I'm going to go right to this. So that Chip Kelly does great is he sequences plays where he'll run. He ran that quick pitch, scored the touchdown, got guys to overcommit. He comes back, and again, I'll get a better angle of this next week because this didn't cut correctly when I put it in here, so I apologize. But this is the same type of look. He pulls a lineman, and he faked before this throw. He faked that quick pitch, like Will Howard turns and does the same exact motion. Trey acts. It's a play action pass. Trey acts like he's catching it. It gets these guys to react just like it was the other play. And instead, it's an RPO to JJ. It might not be an RPO. I don't think he's reading anything. I think he's throwing a slant to JJ here. But this is the stress that you build when you give that long touchdown run. It's the same action. It's a pull. It's the quick pitch. It's Trey acting like he's getting the ball. It's all these guys reacting to it because they got smoked on it earlier in the game. And then you've got this guy one up. You got Optimus Prime up here one up on a slant with nothing in the middle. And again, why is that important? Because he could catch the slant. There's different levels of catching slants. When you can run this slant here and you don't have a safety sitting here, your life is way, way more fun. It's way, way easier because you're not going to run across the middle and get smoked. And again, that's because of Chip's design. Chip, he gets these guys to bite on this. So it's this is the greatest. This kid versus JJ versus all this green grass right here is impossible to defend. So JJ gets it, and JJ does what JJ does. When he gets it, man, it is afterburner city, and it's just nothing but green grass. Again, because they're being aggressive. They're trying to stop that same run action And again, that's a nice easy throw. I mean, that's not some back shoulder 60-yard bomb. That's a quick slant, And when there's no safety in the middle, man coverage. I mean, you can destroy that, and JJ does. So your thoughts on that, Nevada? Because again, I'll get a better shot of that, and I'll sequence that tomorrow on Sunday Night Show. But he loves to run a good run play tied to the play action pass and kind of marry that stuff, because that's tough to defend, because especially when it's, obviously when it's a successful run, people are going to get itchy because they're not going to want to give that one up again. They don't want to give up another 40-yard touchdown or however long it was with Trey. So they trigger. I mean, they're downhill, and they see those hands, they see that flick on that quick toss, and instead he holds it and he just rips that slant, and that was a great throw. Your thoughts on that, Nevada?
Yeah, well, that's exactly what when I was seeing that, I was like, that's exactly what that was. That was sequencing a play. Michigan just went for a touchdown after they made it on a bad spot on fourth down, an impossibly bad spot. The officiating today has been so bad. It has been so bad. And I don't know, I've watched, officials for years, and I don't think I've ever seen the officiating as bad as it is this year. I mean, this goes back to like when they had like the replacement officials in the NFL and stuff like that. What is going on with officiating? What is going on? Today's Ohio State game was completely out of control. Like it was like the guys had never reffed a big time college football game. And again, all you want is the game to have a certain rhythm. Don't review every stupid thing when it's so obvious what in the world's going on out there. And yet they just kept doing it. It was so. This crew should never work another Big Ten game again. Certainly not another Ohio State game. And I've already seen in the USC game that they already missed a delay of game. Then they missed a face mask. Then they missed a spot on fourth down that would have turned the ball over. And it's like, I don't even know what's going on anymore. I mean, I don't even know. Some people think it's rigged. I don't think it's rigged. I just think it's incompetence. But what's your take on that? Is officiating worse, or is it just my imagination?
I think that everything about the game this year, from a game day perspective, has been worse. I think the officials have been bad. I think the replay officials have been bad. I think the pace of the game is atrocious. I mean, the last 2 minutes of the first half, literally, I felt like it took 30 minutes to get through the last 2 minutes, because they had review, 2-minute warning, another review, targeting review, another. I was like, this is like eternal. It's just a slog. And the number of TV time on that was crazy. And again, I know they got to pay the bills. Like, I'm not stupid to that, but it's like, good God, man. I mean, it is like it's a slog. And the officials, I think, have been brutal. I mean, they really have been. So again, this is why they need to have an all-encompassing governing body for college football, where there's a commissioner and they can review some of the stuff to get the game to being smooth. I don't remember it being this clunky on game day, because I swear to God, every time I walk down there, the guy who leads the league in time on the field is the guy that walks out to on the 50-yard line that says it's a TV timeout. Like they at the home games, there's a little guy in a coat, little earpiece, and he stands there. He's got a big sign that says 3 minutes, and it's been brutal, man. But that's just my opinion. Again, I think it's right. I mean, people, how's it on TV? Because again, I haven't watched it on TV live. Does it seem slow? Because I mean, I don't think it's just a 2-minute warning. I think it's also the just like the pace and the reviews, and I mean, it was rough today. What are your thoughts?
No, it's been bad all year, and today was really bad. I mean, it's just bad. And let's talk. I want to talk about one call too, because I
Sure.
clearly do not understand something. But did it matter in the big scheme of things? No. Did it matter in the game? No. Will it matter in our life? No. But how is that targeting on Caden Curry? Is that what targeting was put in to do? Caden Curry came in and made contact with the guy's face mask barely, because he's taller than the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And like, targeting was put in. We know what targeting was put in to prevent. When the guy lowers his head, spears the guy in the back, dangerous play. Like, that's not targeting. And yet he gets thrown out of the game. And, every week I see it, and I'm just like, I don't even understand what targeting is. Did you think that was targeting?
I didn't think it was. But I'll be real. I couldn't get a good look at it because our TV didn't work, so I couldn't see it. I'm gonna rewatch it and see if it was. I don't think it was. I had to look. I was looking kind of far away, but the targeting thing to me that kills me is it's so inconsistent because you'll see kids get kicked out of the game for a helmet to helmet contact when they're trying to tackle a running back who's lowering his head. He's like lowering the crown of his head, to get skinny or to deliver a blow. So I'm like, how are you supposed to penalize the defender who can't figure out how to target or where to aim because he's, like the guy changes his level, I mean, I get like, to me, targeting is the clear cheap shot, the route over the middle, the defenseless player. Like I said, when I hit the guy from Oklahoma State on the end around, that was targeting. That was the crown of my head right to his chin. And that was malicious. And I meant to be malicious because, again, this is how I was. But, if I knew that targeting existed, I probably would have taken a different course. I wouldn't have led with the crown of my helmet against his chin because, again, I wasn't trying to get thrown out of the game. And, again, when you do something malicious like that, that's what targeting is for. It's not for these these subjective, well, he's taller or this guy changed his level or whatever. Because that's what drives me crazy. It's like these running backs, when they run in the hole, man, they drop their shoulders. They're taught to drop their shoulders, get low surface, grip the ball, head down, and some defensive player will come in and hit them, and it'll be helmet to helmet, and then the defensive player gets tossed. I'm like, well, what are you supposed to do when the guy lowers his helmet, especially when he's trying to run you over? So I don't understand it at all.
But Kirk, I mean, to me, helmet to helmet is you're standing there with your helmet, and I come in and lead with my helmet and pin you in the side of the ear with my helmet.
Yeah.
That's helmet to helmet, not making any helmet contact because there's helmet contact on every single stinking play. And if you slow things down on replay on every play and look at it, there's helmet contact on every play, every single play. So I don't even understand it anymore. The rule was put in for a completely different reason. I think the rule's being abused, and again, did it matter? No, but it makes me mad when I see that stuff because I see replay and then I'm like, well, was it pretty obvious that the guy was out of bounds at the end of the first half? I don't see any way that his foot wasn't on the line. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But that clearly. That didn't merit it either. So I'm like, I don't know. It was just a frustrating day all the way around because I felt like the officials lost control of the game early, and it just made for a long, wonky, weird kind of up and down game. That like I said, I predicted we'd win by 41. We won by 35. So was it really that far off the reservation? No, not exactly. But from a viewing standpoint, it wasn't enjoyable watching that, and I do blame the officials for that.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it. Like, I mean, trust me, I thought they were bad all day, and it's been bad for a while. So I don't know how you fix it, but it's painful. All right, let's get into some super chats because we're getting a ton of these things stacked up right now. Actually, I lied. I'm gonna do one more film because I got one more clip here, and then I'll get into the super chats, folks. This is Quinshon's big run. This was great. Again, this is the Chip Kelly effect right here. You got Carnell Tate up here digging this linebacker out. Josh Simmons gets a great block here, stretching this guy out. Donnie's really good here. And this is Quinshon afterburners. But again, Carnell is engaged on this guy. And that's the Chip Kelly effect. I mean, our guys didn't want to get their nose dirty last year, and now they do. So you got this gaping hole. Quinshon presses it out the back gate. Josh Simmons, nice stretch here. Nice muck here by the O-line. Again, everyone's locked up here, which is great. And then Quinshon, once he gets in the open field, man, it's and again, I will say our turf has to be the worst turf in America because I've never seen. It's like ice. So and again, that kid's not getting Quinshon anyways. And he didn't get all the way to the crib there, but he got there later because he had 173 yards. But I thought our turf was an interesting story because we had guys slipping. Like Brandon Ennis was in the open field and he just fell down like he was the life alert grandma, And I was like, I at some point we have to get new turf, man. Like, what are we talking about? Any thoughts on that, Nevada?
Yeah, our turf is bad, and you just hate when the turf is a story. It shouldn't
Oh
be. It
God.
shouldn't be a story. Not at Ohio State, man. Come on, we should have the best turf in the world. I understand we went away from the grass field because of the water level, and I get all that stuff. But come on, have some good turf. Yeah, it is. It's uncanny how much guys are slipping and sliding around there, and that should never happen.
Yeah, and that's my point. Is it shouldn't be like this disaster that it ends up being. But again, I digress. Let's get into some super chats because they're packing in here. Appreciate you guys as always. Oh wow, Sergio hit us with the first 5. All right. Oh my God, this is cruel, Sergio. Thanks for the deuce. He says Jaden Felding needs a therapist. But again, you know me, because Nevada calls me Mr. Big Cuddly Bear. I felt for the kid after he hit the third one out. Because the kid, he'd been consistent. The staff believed in him to the point where they didn't even acknowledge the Groza Award winner from Miami that transferred to Alabama at all. Because that kid, you get him for a year. This kid, you got him for 3 more years. So I kind of understood that, but I worry about this kid because, again, we've lost national championships in recent time because we couldn't hit a kick. We lost. So it's traumatizing, I guess you could say. And I don't know how you get it fixed, but yeah, I mean, he can't have this foggy head if we need him to go to the Oregon game and hit a game-winning field goal. Again, no one cares about kickers until it's time to care about a kicker, and that's why I love guys like Harrison Butker and Tucker from the Ravens because those guys have won titles because they're so efficient, they're so good, they're so deadly accurate, they're so consistent. And again, I worry about this kid a little bit. Nevada, your thoughts? Sergio says that Jane Fielding needs a therapist. Again, I don't like making light of athletes getting the yips because I think it could happen to anybody. What are your thoughts on that?
I think you're a scholarship athlete that you have one job. So kick the ball. I mean, kick the ball. I mean, it's the one thing that's not dependent on anybody else. Like your blocking, it's dependent on how good the defensive tackle is and what the play call is. I mean, the ball sits on a tee. So you don't even have a snap. This is like kicking the ball. So kick the ball. Be better.
Fucking love it.
Sorry.
That's
I mean, come on. No. The ball's sitting there. The ball's sitting there.
Hey, I'm good. I'm good with it. Sergio Salmon, thanks for the 5. Is our turf made of ice? It's ridiculous. Is our practice field at the Woody made of different material than the shoe? No, it's not. But they generally get replaced at different intervals based on wear. Obviously, the Woody, it gets more wear just because we practice over there all the time. We condition and run over there all the time. But I don't know if it's we need new turf or it's because of all the concerts that we have and they pack the whole infield down with chairs and a stage and I don't know what it is. But I mean, our guys slip all the time. I don't know if they need different shoes. I think they just need different turf because again, we can watch college football for the rest of the night when people are on field turf and you won't see them flying around, slipping all over the place because that was the one thing I liked about field turf is it's consistent. It's not, our grass that we had in 06 was terrible, but in 07 when we had field turf, I liked it because we always had good grip. I thought we always had good grip. I always played with better grip. And, now it's just nuts. I mean, Brandon Innes fell down like an old lady in the middle of the field. And I was like, oh my God, he might take it and redeem himself. And he just fell down. There was a halo of nothingness around him and he hit the deck. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Again, Sergio, appreciate when he says, is the turf made of ice? It's ridiculous. Is our practice field at the Woody made of different material than the shoe? It's the same, but what are your thoughts on the turf, Nevada?
Yeah, it's just old and bald, and I do agree that I think putting all that stuff on the field, it's kind of worn it down, and it needs to be replaced. I think it's pretty obvious that there's an issue with that, and they need to do something about it. But I'm confident that we have the AD that'll look at that and do something because it's not great.
Yeah, I mean, because he gets stuff done, which is a whole different ball of wax compared to where we've been in the past. Sergio, again, thank you for the deuce. Says, where was the QB pressure? It's a great question. I mean, again, I thought the defense played good, above average, but the pressure has been an issue for a while now, just in terms of just getting the guy on the ground. I mean, Caden Curry had a sack where the left guard just let him go. So I mean, it's funny. He gets like some of these sacks. I'm just like, it wasn't like he hit some dominant pass rushing move. The left guard just let him go, and then he kept blocking air. And I was like, oh my god, that'll look great in film tomorrow. What are your thoughts about on our QB pressure game?
It's not great. I mean, it's not great. It's not. There's no way to. I mean, there's no way to sugarcoat it. It's not. We're not the dominant type of pass rushing that I think that we hoped for or that we need going forward. Um, and so, I'm not sure what you do about that, because just waving a wand and say, "Hey guys, be better rushers," because JT, when he does do stuff, he loses contain, and that's an issue. And now you just opening up an entire different set of issues. So I think what Knowles is going to have to do, he's going to have to compensate by bringing pressure, and he's been kind of rude to bring pressure. Um, in these lesser games, they've blitzed very, very sparingly in these first few games. So I think it's a valid point. I think that I don't know if it's personnel or whatever. I don't know how you take JT Tumalaw out of the lineup, but man, he's just not playing at a level that you need to be playing. And I, I'm not sure how else to put it. But and it's not just a him problem. I didn't think Jack Sawyer played particularly well, but he's been better the first two games, so he gets a little bit of the benefit of the doubt. But our defensive ends are not slippery. They're not guys that are beating the guys. You looked at that pass rush move today by the Marshall kid. That's the kind of type of athleticism and move that we need out of our defensive end, and we're just not getting it right now. So
Yeah, and that spin move was a move like, I mean, he didn't. There wasn't a game. There wasn't a blitz. I mean, he just flat out beat Josh Fryer. Flat beat him. Great spin move and got upfield and closed down Will Howard and got him on the ground and got a sack. And again, like, that's the tape that the NFL people will watch. They'll say, okay, this guy's got he's got something to him. And again, I don't. I think I think Jack has played much better than JT this year. Again, I'm not trying to beat JT to death, but it's like when you're that highly rated, that's just part of the pie. Is when you come in as a 5-star number one player in the country, you expect Jadeveon Clowney or hell even Dylan Stewart from South Carolina type production, and JT just looks aloof sometimes. And again, I've wanted him to turn it around. I don't know if he just is what he is. I think he's more of a defensive tackle than he is a defensive end at this point. But he's lost a lot of weight, so he's almost too small to play D tackle. But I think that'll end up being more of his skill set, is him to bulk up and play inside going forward. Sergio Sama, thank you for the 5. Was reffing so bad, and why does it take so long to review obvious plays? I don't know, man. The reffing has been terrible, and the review stuff is so clunky. You wish that they'd have a more efficient system to do it, but I don't think that they do. Nevada, your thoughts on that?
I mean, I just think they I mean, the system is put in place to be quick and be efficient and move things along. Not review bad plays, but there's nothing that you can do that can kind of overcome incompetence. And what you had today was an incompetent crew led by an incompetent crew chief, and an incompetent replay official, and that combination it was just a poorly officiated game all the way around today, and all those guys should be at least sanctioned, because you can't. I mean, the game of football, the college football game is such big business right now that you can't be bad at your job and do it. And those guys, they clearly didn't know what they were doing, and that's an issue, and somebody's got to deal with that.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Sergio. Oh God, here we go, Joel Klatt. I got so many texts, and again, this is hard. The hard part about me going to the game is I don't hear the color. I don't hear the color commentary. But I guess Joel Klatt was just atrocious today in Nevada, and I don't know if he's doing like the Colin Cowherd playbook, where it's just like, let's just tick off every Ohio State fan in the world to get ratings, because I got it from everywhere. People were telling me how bad Joel Klatt was and how in the bag he was, and Ohio State needs IVs at halftime and that crazy some. And he also refuses to acknowledge the Michigan cheating, which is also kind of hilarious. But we talked, and you said that he was rough today. Any other thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, but I thought he was being honest. I think he really doesn't like Ohio State. I mean, he was just. I mean, you can just tell when every little. I mean, it wasn't shtick. It was like every possible little negative thing that you could say about Ohio
Mhm.
State. Um, he was just on, and like I said, to hear him talk, you thought we were losing the game by 5 scores, and well, I didn't think we were perfect by any means. We did a lot of good things, and a lot of
Mhm.
things that were worthy of note, and yeah, I thought, and I think he's been bad, for a while, and I've said that before. I said kind of what's happened to Joel Klatt, but today was like he was in a class by himself in terms of bad. I mean, he was really
Mhm.
bad today, and so he took it to another level.
Yeah, it's interesting because you look at some of the national guys, and he used to be decent, I thought, but I guess he's unbearable now. And again, some of these guys they're in the bag, and they know how to generate ratings, and they know that Ohio sports fans care more than any other class of people. So it's just like hey, let's get them all stirred up and get our ratings up and do the best we can. Pooh Bear 12, thank you for the 10. Thank you for an ultra member as well. My takeaways from Had to Shoot 1, it was hotter than you could imagine. It was pretty hot out. 2, the D was vanilla. DBs played 10 yards off their wide receivers and let them hit underneath stuff all day. The O-line looks good and no injuries. Well, yeah, it was hot. And again, like it's for it being almost, it's late September, like it's pretty hot out. But I think that the D, I didn't think it was totally vanilla. I mean, we ran some blitz zero where we bought the house and we didn't get there, so they converted on it was like a third and medium, third and long. I don't think we have great blitzers, honestly. I don't think we have guys that can get loose the way that we need them to. So it makes it harder to run blitz zero, which is basically it's man to man, and you rush 6 guys. And if the running back stays in pass protection, you rush 7 guys. But yeah, I thought the O line looked good, which again, 2 or 3 weeks ago, the O line was the worst line in the history of mankind, and I thought they looked pretty good today. And no injuries is the most important thing for me in a game like that. Nevada, what are your thoughts? Obviously, you could tell it was pretty hot. I mean, the D I thought it was vanilla, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, I just think look, it's all those things. It's like you're coming off a bye week. You're coming off a week where everybody's being told how great they are, and you're hanging out, and it's really hot, and the other team's makes a few plays and are converting things. I mean, it just it's all those things, and then you look up at the score and you're like, hey, well, we shut them out in the second half, which is that's good. Um, we gave up 14 points in the first half, and that's bad. But you know, I don't know. I just kind of chalk it up to I don't believe that we have like systemic problems. I think our problems are the same problems that we've had. We're I think that our defensive line is really good, especially when Tyleek's in there. I think our
Hmm.
defensive backfields are really good, especially when they're engaged and playing. I think we need to get better production out of our linebackers. And Sonny and CJ Hicks just looked absolutely lost out there again today. I mean, absolutely lost. So James has got his work cut out with him. Was hoping that Arvell Reese would take a step up or that Cody Simon would be dominant. Neither one of those things happened. So, we're I think we're doing as well as we are without great linebacker production right now. And if we have one Achilles heel on the team, because we went into the season and the questions were, like you said, offensive line, tight end, quarterback, and linebacker. And I think the quarterback position's been answered resoundingly, as we said it would be. The offensive line is cooking. We're getting decent, to very good production out of the tight ends. And I think the only question we have left is linebacker. They got some work to do.
Yeah, I totally agree. SC Buckeye, thanks for the deuce. Thanks for an ultra as well. Devin Brown looked uninspired and lost. Nevada OH.
Oh,
Yeah, I didn't think the twos were as crisp. I mean, obviously that's not some sort of genius statement, but you watched it and it didn't look like it did. And it's a better opponent, but I didn't think that they had as much fluidity. And I thought Devin, he missed the throw. He didn't look great running it. So again, I think it's time to get going with Julian Sand. Just get him rolling because he's going to be the future of the program. But I get why you want to do right by Devin too. I mean, again, this is I'm sure that he's a leader and everything else. But yeah, I didn't think he looked great. Nevada, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, I mean, he kind of got in at a really difficult time, and I'm not sure they were exactly opening up the whole playbook. I mean, they had him throw in third and long and stuff like that. But um, like you said, long, hot day, sitting there on the sideline doing nothing, and then you go
Sucks.
in with 4 minutes to go, and you got to try to do something. I mean, that's just tough. It's tough to do, and I think for Devin, it's I think those are very very difficult situations to shine,
Mm-hmm.
and so him not shining was not exactly surprising to me.
Yeah, I'll say as a guy that came off the bench for a few games in my career, it's terrible. It's the worst thing because you have to stay loose and in the game for like 3 quarters, 3.5 quarters. You don't know if you're going to go in. They finally say you're going in, and you're like, oh, you go out there and you just kind of fart around a little bit, and But I mean, guys are trying to get a little bit of run and. Like I get Ryan throwing it because he wants to see some of these guys throw it. You gotta have him throw it. He can't just hand it off every time. So I don't know. Like you have to have him do a little bit of work, but like at some point, I think it's just time to go to Julian and just get him on the field because I don't know who's going to be here next year, but I know that if I had to bet money right now, Julian is going to be the heavy favorite to be the starter. So I'd get him in the game and get him rolling. On a positive note, Nevada against Georgia thanks for the 5. He says that Quinshon Judkins looked great and the offensive was explosive. I totally agree. I thought Quinshon looked fantastic. And I thought Trey was fantastic. But they both are just a joy to watch. And it's sad this is the only year we get to see this duo, but I'll take it. And again, that's why God bless the transfer portal, man, because we got Q and he is a monster, and he's going to make some NFL team very happy when he gets selected. Nevada, your thoughts on Quinshon Judkins looking great and the offense looking explosive?
Well, yeah, it's just we're not in that situation where you go from running back A to running back B, and it's a big step off, and you're waiting for the good guy to get back out there on the field. Every time we're going Quinshon, and then you're going to Trey. Even when you go to James Peoples, you've got 3 really good ones. But Quinshon and Trey are special running backs. They make each other better. They keep each other fresh, and they really are something else, man. I'm telling you what, they are a joy to watch.
Yeah. John M., thank you for the 5. What is your opinion on the linebackers? They don't seem to be making too many impact plays, too many tackles, 5 or more yards on the field. Is it the scheme, Nevada OH? Well, yeah, I don't know if they're just hesitant, but yeah, I don't feel our linebackers like we have in years past when we've had dominating linebacker play. And you look around the NFL, man, we've got Pete Warner and Jonathan Cooper's playing stand-up outside linebacker. He obviously was a linebacker at Ohio State. Baron Browning, and we had guys that were like impact dudes playing the position. And I don't know if I feel that this year. And again, I'm not trying to be overly negative, but I don't really feel the linebackers the way I have in the past when I played with guys like AJ and James and whatever. But I think that they've got a lot of upside. Sonny's a conversion still, so he's working. I think he's getting better. I think that Cody missing camp and missing time wasn't ideal for him when he hasn't been a full-time starter in his entire career. So I think that there's a lot of upside. CJ is the one that they got to figure out something to do with him because he's got to be kind of recalibrated and rebooted because he should be playing much better than he is right now. And then you got to figure out Gabe Powers and can you get these young guys in like Peyton Pierce and Arvell. I mean, Arvell's been really good when he's gotten in. So when does he start to take some reps away from Cody or Sonny or whoever? It should be interesting. Nevada, your thoughts? We talked a little bit about the linebackers, but what's your opinion on the linebackers? They don't seem to make too many impact plays, too many tackles, 5 or more yards down the field. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, there's not very good. There's not. That doesn't mean they can't be good in the future, or they're not good players, or they're not good kids, or they can't make impact plays. But no, that's exactly right. I mean, it seems like it's like read, go to kind of where the hole is, wait for the guy to come to you, and then drag him down 5 or 6 yards down the field. And it's like I can't believe that's what's being taught at Ohio State from James Laurinaitis, because he certainly didn't play the game that way. But that's kind of the way that our linebackers are playing right now, and you know they're not like, racing to the holes, reading the plays, making their reads, and making plays in the backfield. And as a result, when that doesn't happen, if we're not getting the push and the stop from the defensive line, man, it makes for a long day, because the linebackers, they're getting 5 and 6 yards on first down, and sets up second and short, and lots of things they can do in those types of situations. But no, linebackers just got to be better, but they haven't been.
Agreed. Justin Paul, thanks for the deuce. I think they got the refs on Timu. I hate HBRQB run D. Yeah, the refs were bad again. Our QB run defense was interesting because that seemed to be the one calling card that they had consistently, is that they like to go to that QB run, and it's hard to stop. Which again, I was texting you that during the game to that, where I'm like, who knew the QB run was difficult to stop, because it was really tough to stop. But yeah, I think that we know the refs are pretty bad. It was pretty brutal. Nevada, I don't even think you know what Timu is, but do you know what Timu is?
I do not know what. Should I know what Timu is? What is?
It's like a counterfeit jank version of like Amazon. If you want to get like a counterfeit something, or like a cheap version of something like from China, you can get it on Timu.
Ooh.
So that's what it means. So there you go.
Oh, very nice. Now I know where I'm shopping for Kirk Barton's birthday present.
Oh my god, I can't wait.
I'm going to Timu.
Loaded, give you like a nice a new TV that's just loaded with lead and uranium shavings and everything. It'd be perfect.
I love it.
Tommy Tom 10, thank you for the 5. Please don't sunshine pump this game. Marshall made our defense look bad in the first half. 3 kicks out of bounds, so it wouldn't matter if we could stop them. Nevada, I'll let you go first, because I know that you're Captain Sunshine Pumper. Do not sunshine pump this game, but what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I thought the first half, our defense, it wasn't a particularly inspired game. That was accentuated by the fact that our kicker had the yips and kept ripping it out of bounds and giving him the ball on the 35-yard line. So it was weird. And again, we scored explosively, so we were going back on the field, again, right away. But it's not sunshine pump to say we shut them out in the second half, because that's what happened. It's not sunshine pump to say they only gained 250 yards and only gained 3 yards per rush running the football, because that's what happened. So I just look at it as, I don't think it was a great effort by our defense, ... And still we only gave up 14 points and 250 yards. So not happy with it, not thrilled, not running down and saying, wow, that's in the pantheon of great performances. But keeping it in perspective, when those are your bad performances, you can live with that, because our bad performances used to be way worse than that. And I think it's a combination of missing I think we really, really missed Tyleek on the defensive line, and I think our linebacker play's got to be better. And the Tyleek thing, that situation will be solved just by him coming back. I'm not sure how you make the linebacker play better. That's where James Laurinaitis is going to have to earn his money and coach those kids up.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like I said, I just in these games, man, I don't get too high or too low, but like we beat them 49-14. Like I played in a game in 04 where we needed a last second field goal to win, and that was a team that had Bobby Carpenter and AJ Hawk and Schlegel and Santonio Holmes and Ted Ginn and all kinds of guys on the roster, and we needed overtime to beat Marshall. So and that wasn't exactly. That Marshall team was good, but it wasn't like it was Chad Pennington, Byron Leftwich good. So again, I everything's relative to me, and when you beat a team 49-14, can you still get after them tomorrow about things? Yes, Brandon Innes has to catch that punt. You've got the kicker can't kick it out of bounds. Could the pass rush be better? Yes. Running game I thought was incredible. But again, it was It was a weird game because we had so many short drives because, when you have an 80-yard touchdown, a 70-yard touchdown, it really is tough on the defense because the defense isn't getting time to breathe or relax or not relax. But, when you're on the sideline, you got, you always get like 5 or 10 minutes before you're back on the field with the TV timeouts, everything else, the heat, before you're back out there. But, with our offense being that explosive, I mean, they were on the field for a lot of plays. I mean, I'd bet they were on the field for probably 80 plays, and they probably averaged 60 normally. So on a hot day, it just wasn't great. And again, not an excuse for the heat, but it was a bear out there today. Buckeye won. Thank you for the deuce, Nevada and Kirk. So right about Chip Kelly. Amazing. Nevada, I'll let you take the credit for that one. People said that Chip Kelly couldn't coach, and it was a no good, terrible play caller. You stood up and said, no, he is not. No, he is not. Your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's unbelievable. I mean, he's a virtuoso. He's a guy that is really, operating at the top of his game right now. And, I couldn't be more happy to have a guy, like I said, I'm so excited that Chip Kelly is the offensive coordinator at Ohio State. It's kind of a dream come true, to be honest. And I think anybody that wasn't following Chip Kelly's career really just was kind of missing the point, because his problem was all the other stuff that came along with coaching, not being an offensive play caller. Because as an offensive play caller, he has few peers, and we're seeing that, and that was certainly on display today.
Yeah, I think Chip he's just an absolute godsend for Ryan Day, because Ryan can trust him. He doesn't have to worry about him. He's a guy that's got an incredible upside. Lets Ryan be the head coach. Doesn't. And the thing about Chip is he pushes the other coaches, and it's not always hey, golly gee whiz, Brian Hartline, can you get these guys to block sometimes? It's like, no, like Brian, like your guys, again, straight from practice, how do you expect Quinshawn and Trey to block in pass protection and pick up a blitzing linebacker, but when they get the ball, all of a sudden your receivers don't block, or they just half effort it and take the play off? Because again, that was something that plagued the team last year, is that, Marvin did not like to block. He did not like to get his nails dirty at all. Great player. God bless him, whatever. But I think that, when your best player doesn't do it, then all of a sudden it kind of permeates throughout the room. So again, and I know Marvin was up for the draft and everything else, but the way I look at like with football is like, dude, like if you're meant to get hurt, you're going to get hurt. That's just God's will. It's God's plan. If you're supposed to get hurt playing the game, you're going to get hurt. That's all I was acting. I was like, so I'm just going to go hard. I'm not going to try to protect myself. And again, I was always if you protect yourself, you're definitely going to get hurt. I always just felt like if you let up and take it easy, those are the guys that always get dinged. But I love the direction of the team. Again, I highlighted Carnell's block where he went in there and picked off the linebacker. And you don't have to kill the guy. I mean, when you've got Quinshawn and Trey, I mean, dude, those guys could do 90% of the work. If you just get in the way, they can shimmy off that. They can they can put their foot in the ground and they can juke off that. They can pick a crease. I mean, they can make a jump cut, whatever. I mean, you don't have to pancake them like you're Orlando Pace. You just got to get in the way. And the problem is last year we didn't even get in the way. So, it really limited our ability to get explosive runs when you don't block the safeties ever. But yeah, and like I said a million times, Chip Kelly literally would clinic with Belichick and Saban and Urban, and I'm like, even if I don't like him, well, if those guys are calling him in to learn how he does what he does on offense, then obviously he's pretty good. They don't just call people into their office and say, oh, well, how was your lunch today? No, I'd love to have you come over and let's talk for 8 hours. No, they were trying to figure out why he does some of the diabolical stuff he does, and I think he does really well with it. Schaefer Healthcare, thank you for the 5. Offense looked great for the most part. Defense struggled at times versus a mobile quarterback with decent weapons. Reasons for concern against Oregon, I have none. Again, I think Marshall, and I talk about this all the time, and I mean this sincerely. For Marshall, this was their Super Bowl. For all of their players, this was their Super Bowl. This is the type of game where that defensive end will probably get a look in the NFL because he beat Josh Fryer for a sack. And, when these kids are getting evaluated to go to the NFL draft, because Marshall's like, there will be some guys on that team that will get drafted or they'll get undrafted free agent contracts. They'll watch the Ohio State game. So these Marshall kids, they know that. Their agents tell them that. So these kids they play as hard as they possibly can. And I thought Marshall played hard. Were they perfect? No. Did they make mistakes? Yeah. Did they blow some stuff? Yeah. But I thought they played hard because, again, they're trying to go to the NFL. They're just like all the kids at Ohio State. They all want to play in the league. So, when we play these types of teams, they're usually good teams in their conference and they're competitive. And, these kids, they've got NFL on their mind, and they know if they ball out versus Ohio State, it can literally change themselves and their families' lives. So I was very aware of that when I used to play, and you play some really big time try hard teams, and I wasn't mad about it. Like, I totally get it. So the kids would go crazy, and they weren't sleepwalking through the start of the game because they wanted to go get some bread. Nevada, Schaefer Healthcare, again, thank you for the 5, says, offense looked great for the most part. Defense struggled at times versus a mobile quarterback with decent weapons. Are you concerned at all, Nevada, about Oregon?
Well, I'm always concerned about Oregon, but did anything happen today that concerns me about Oregon? No. I mean, it just, the transitive property doesn't work with football. A is greater than B, B is greater than, that stuff doesn't work. Every game is an individual type of situation. Oregon's got its own set of unique challenges, and that'll be very interesting. That game's going to be fun. Difficult game, road game, which is kind of a different environment for us. We haven't had to experience that yet. But no, it's going to take somebody really good to beat Ohio State this year. Really good in all facets, and special teams, offensively and defensively, because we can hurt you so many different ways. And even if one group isn't playing, perfect on that day, we get the other side that can, kind of keep it up. I mean, for Oregon, I think the big question for Oregon is, how do you stop our offense? 'Cause I'm not sure how you stop this offense, running the way that it is with Will. I mean, Will Howard just completed 80% of his passes today, 2 touchdowns, another touchdown on the ground, and Frank, even the interception, like when he's got JJ out there one-on-one, he is told to throw that ball. He is told to throw that ball, and JJ's got to make a play. JJ's either got to make a play on the ball or at least knock it down. And JJ can't let that guy intercept. So I guarantee he's not going to get a failing grade for that play. JJ will get the failing grade because JJ's got to make a better play on that. And so that goes down as an INT on Will's book. But I thought Will was great today, and I think that's going to be a real problem for people as we're moving down the schedule.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm glad you brought that up, because when JJ's wound up like that, he has to go get that ball. I mean, he can swim over that guy and go grab it. I mean, that wasn't like it was a quick out. That thing developed. It was in the air for a minute. He's got to make a play on that. Or at the very worst, if he's not going to catch it, he's going to make sure the other guy doesn't catch it. I mean, tackle him, rip his arm, do something. Don't let that guy get a hold of it and actually pick you off. So I thought that was great. Mike Greene, thanks for the deuce. He says, Nevada, the defense scares him. He says, the defense scares me, Kirk. Jim Knowles might lack fire. I don't know. I don't know if Jim Knowles lacks fire, but I thought they were fine, and they gave up 14 points and 250 yards in modern football. So I think that's plenty versus a good team. Nevada, do you have any comment on that?
I think we have plenty of fire. It's just sometimes kids got to play better and got to make tackles, and we got to defeat blocks up front. And no, this is not the greatest effort of all time, but it's it's not for lacking fire. I guarantee you that.
Yeah, I think that tomorrow's film session will be nice and spicy, and I'm sure it'll be very fiery, and I'll be very happy that I'll be sitting at my house watching NFL Sunday Ticket and not sitting in those film rooms tomorrow. So that'll be good. Mike Reed again, thanks for the deuce. He says, I know we overreact, but we couldn't get pressure. Yeah, the pressure is something that, it worries me that we can't just openly defeat, they're not, Marshall's not in the MAC. I think they're in Conference USA now, but we can't beat those guys consistently on the edge. Again, that's something that's always just been perplexing to me. But again, that's just me. And again, I think that, we do have to rush a little bit more conservatively when a guy can run. Their quarterback can run all over the place. So I think you got to cage rush a guy like that. And again, that's not as sexy as all-out craziness, all-out pass rushing, all-out run up the field and open up the rush lanes. But, when a guy can run, I think you have to cage rush him. And again, you're going to sacrifice sacking him, but you're going to be able to affect him and keep him in the pocket so he doesn't get these humongous rush lanes. Because again, the problem is with when you just turn these DNs loose, is that they'll just run up the field, and once he gets past the quarterback, they can just push him up, and all of a sudden it's a straight it's a jailbreak where the quarterback's just running loose. Because again, this quarterback ran and made some nice plays on the design runs, and then also just some pure scrambles. So again, I thought he was a good player. Like I don't think he's great, he's not a great thrower, but he was tough. He took shots, and he was the guy that frankly gave us by far the most problems. Is that Q run game, and again, I've talked about it a million times, but I thought something that they did that was really stupid is all of a sudden when they condensed everything, they went away from read option, which they were shredding us with. They get down to the 1 yard line, and all of a sudden, they go to the big heavy set and they hand it off and they get stuffed. And I'm like, why would you not just read option that all the way and just score? Because again, I think the read option when you're down in the low red area where you're inside the 2 yard line is unstoppable. When you have, especially, I'm talking from Marshall's perspective, but Ohio State, when you've got JJ and Emeka and Carnell Tate and whoever else you want to put out there, if it's Ennis or if it's G. Scott or whatever, and you run read option in the backfield, you spread everything out, you can't defend it. It's literally impossible. So, just my opinion. Nevada, your thoughts? I know we overreact, but we couldn't get pressure. Kind of the same old song and dance, but what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we all want to see more pressure out of the defensive ends, and I'm not sure how they're going to account for manufacturing that pressure, whether it's going to be more blitzing or whatever it's going to be. But we don't. It's painfully obvious that we don't have a Joey Bosa, Nick Bosa, Chase Young at the defensive end spot that can just, or Will Smith that can immediately just generate a pass rush, and that's going to fall on Knowles to try to dial up different ways about bringing the pressure, and it's a challenge. But I think we're giving up. What are we giving up? 6 points a game so far this year. So high class problems. As Ohio State fans, we deal with a lot of things, but yeah, these are things could always be worse. I think we're probably number one in the country in defense, but we have to have something to worry about. So we'll make it the defense and pass rush, because the offense was darn near perfect today.
Yeah. So you got to complain. So the Tommy Tom, thanks for the 10, thanks for the deuce. Excuse me, Tommy Tom 10. Thank you for the deuce. Excuse me. Big fan, but don't be sunshine bumpers. I mean, we're like number 2 in the country or number 3 in the country, and we won 49-14, and nobody got hurt, and we ran for a zillion yards, and I think Quinchon had like 10 carries for 173 yards or something crazy. So like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I guess I could be upset and sad about winning 49-14 versus what I thought was a good Marshall team. I don't think they were terrible. I mean, I think Marshall would give Purdue a run for their money, and some of the lower tier Big Ten teams, UCLA and teams like that. I mean, they were within 2 touchdowns of Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech's not very good, but this isn't like we're playing FAMU or we're playing Akron again. This was a decent team. So Nevada, your thoughts? Tommy Tom again. Thanks for this. Says he's a big fan of us, but don't be a sunshine pumper. I don't know how I'm supposed to react. It's like I'm not gonna like beat a team to death when we just won by 5 touchdowns. We covered the spread, didn't we? Nevada, was it 40?
Well, if we nah, it was 40. We didn't cover.
We didn't. Okay.
Yeah, that's why people are sad. But
sorry,
I mean, if we won,
Matt, I get it.
Yeah, if we won 13-12, Kirk, would you be like all hunky dory and all jumping up and down?
I mean, like Georgia and Kentucky last week. I mean,
yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah,
I mean,
I know, I wouldn't be. I'd be like, I think we just tell it as it is. I mean, it's just there are certainly areas that we can improve, but overall, when you're number 1 in the country in defense and you just rushed for 20 yards a carry, and your quarterback, converted 80% of his passes, and you won by 35. It's just hard to be too sad, So I don't know. Maybe we could be sadder. Maybe we have like 2 shows. We have one show like the realistic show, and then we have like the sad show where we just. But I'm not even sure what I'd be sad about today. Like offensively, if I said, Kirk, be sad about the offense today. So I guess we could talk about Devin Brown not looking. We covered that earlier today. We've already had somebody write in about Devin Brown not looking. So we talk about Devin Brown with 4 minutes to go didn't look awesome. Okay. What
Josh,
else? What else you got?
Josh Fry gave up 1 sack.
Josh Fryer gave up a sack. Okay. Yep. Got that.
Um,
Will Howard missed a pass.
he missed one
He had
pass.
Jelani Thurman wide open there, thing, and he kind of aimed it and threw it at his feet, and that. So
I mean,
I don't have much. I'm having trouble coming up with material on the offense, man. I really am. I'm trying not to be a sunshine bumper, but I'm really struggling.
Oh God, yeah, I know. I mean, like tomorrow, make sure you guys have your Sunday ticket, or you go to Twin Peaks or B-Dubs and watch their Sunday ticket, because you can go watch Anthony Richardson from the Colts throw it all over the lot, especially to the other team, and fumble the ball and get hurt, and you'll say, man, that's not as bad as Will Howard. You know what I mean? Like, I know that the guy's an incredible athlete, but still, like, I mean, I'll watch guys tomorrow that can't throw it like Will Howard can. And I'm not saying that Will Howard is Peyton Manning or Tom Brady or Pat Mahomes or whatever, but, I thought he missed a couple throws today, but he's still 80%. And I thought he managed the game well, and the team was calm. And, at the end of the day, we shook off the bye week rust. We get to go on the road against Michigan State. That'll galvanize the team. They'll be tight next week. They'll be ready to go. I think they're going to absolutely throttle Michigan State, because that's what we do to Michigan State. And they're gonna, that's gonna be their big Super Bowl up there, because they got a new coach, new quarterback, the new whole shebang. And I just think that we're gonna absolutely smash those guys, and I think it'll be good for our guys to get on the road. Lost listings for the 5 this year. The stadium production seems a bit out of sorts. Just wondering if is there an executive producer that manages the event? I know that they have a production team. I know that our production team in general is not very good, and I've complained about it 1,000 times. Just because, just little stuff like when there's a replay and stuff, they never show replays on the jumbotron of like a critical thing, like the guy's foot, in the end zone, or anytime there's like a targeting. They always show like some live feed of the actual like stadium at the present moment, like of the players. And I'm like, why are they showing like the replay so that our coaches can look at it and make a decision on if they want to fight for a challenge or burn a timeout or fight for it to be reviewed? So I don't know. Like again, Ohio State doesn't do very well in the production quality or the game day experience stuff. And again, I don't like beating Ohio State to death, even though sometimes they're easy targets, because some of the people that run the place they're just not very talented. But I wish that the experience was better. But that's just me. Nevada, your thoughts? This year, the stadium production seems a bit out of sorts. I know you haven't been to the stadium yet this year. This was probably impossible for you to answer. But you've been in sports. You've got a very deep sports background of running teams and doing that deal. Is there usually an executive producer that manages the kind of the in-game theatrics that goes on?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. And I just don't know. I mean, it's like you have a director, just like you have on a movie or for a play or anything else like that. Because this is a giant production, is basically what it is. But I just I don't know how much that they've dug into changing the production or what they're doing with the production staff. So I don't really know how the game. I just know that in the past, the game day experience has been very underwhelming. And I always feel like it's a battle, where it's like a battle between, you know, trying to respect the traditions of Ohio State while at the same time, you know, trying to get into the year 2024 and present people with a viable product. And there are some little things, like you said, that could be done, like with replay and other things that would make the game much more enjoyable. But it seems like that's almost like a policy, and I don't know where that started from. That's got to be like some legacy thing from Gene Smith or something, where you don't show replays or something, because I don't know why they don't do it. And frankly, I think it's something that the new AD needs to address, because I feel like it's been, everything about the game day experience to me has been underwhelming at Ohio State for a very long time, and I think it needs to be better.
Yeah, I think that the only reason that it hasn't gotten better is because the team's been so good, and so the tickets are so in demand that they don't really have to put on a show to get people to show because everybody wants to watch this team. So I mean, that's the tough part. Like they don't really need to upgrade a lot of the areas, a lot of the concessions, all the concourses, a lot of the game day stuff because at the end of the day, they've got people. If you don't want to go, they've got 10,000 other people that would kill for your season tickets, or they give money for your season tickets or your suite or whatever. So I think that's what they just rest on their laurels because they can. But again, that's my deal. Sergio Salmon, thanks for the deuce. Says I can't stand cry baby Sharon Moore. Nevada, I know that you hate Sharon Moore. What are your thoughts on this? Is 14-3 currently. Michigan is up on SC. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, Michigan's. It's funny. They're winning today. They're beating SC. Just running the ball literally every play, and SC's just struggled to stop it. And that's been, that's not going to work against some better teams, and that's not going to work on the road. I mean, they're so limited passing the ball. I just can't wait, for them to get to Columbus. I want to see Orgy there trying to call plays with the place going crazy, and yeah, no, and I still think USC can come back and win this game. I don't think I don't think Michigan's all that, and their offense is absolutely terrible. And Sharon Moore he's a joke, but I hope he's there for 100 years. So go Sharon.
Totally agree. Mike Green, thank you for the deuce. He says, "Look, I'm a Buckeye fan. We overreact. I know, man. It's part of the gig, and I think it's I always tell people, I'm like, look, you better enjoy the good times because I remember because I was on a 6-7 in 2011, so I would have killed to beat a team 49-14, and run for. I think we ran for more yards today than we did in that entire season. So again, I'm here for it. I enjoy the wins. I don't sit around and sulk because our kicker kicked it out of bounds or something stupid like that. Because again, you guys are gonna blink, and the season's gonna be over, and you're never gonna see Trey Henderson play in Ohio Stadium again. So you're gonna sit there. It's like, man, I wish I enjoyed it more. I wish I enjoyed watching Emeka and Chip Kelly call the plays and Quinshon Judkins because you're never gonna see those guys play a game in Ohio Stadium again after this year. So you better enjoy it. Again, you can sit around and complain and be miserable all the time, but I'm not going to do that. I love watching those kids. I think they're doing great. I love watching Jack Story. This is his last run. Yeah, some of these kids I know really, really well. I'm really close with them. And so I want these kids to have a good experience. And again, you can beat yourself to death, but at the same token, like I think there's a point where you have to be realistic and say, okay, there's things that we have to do much better. But there's also a point where it's counterproductive to just beat the kids to death, beat the coaching staff to death, and do that type of thing. So that's my opinion. Again, I've only lived it as a player, a coach, an analyst, like however, whatever metric you want to throw at me, I've lived it. So that's just my opinion. Again, I used to like winning games. I'd be miserable after wins sometimes if we didn't play well. Because again, back in the olden days where we were the old covered wagon offense and we were scoring 14 points a game, 24 points a game, like that was our goal to score 24. Like those are not fun days. And now it's like we score 49 and we're still miserable. So again, all I know is the one thing I can guarantee to you guys about Ohio State is people for the rest of my life will always hate the offensive line coach and the defensive coordinator. That is like a locked in stone thing that I've just known. And a lot of times the offensive coordinator. So Chip will be on the hate list pretty quick here too. Nevada, your thoughts? Mike Green again. Thanks for the deuce. He says, "Look, remember, I'm a Buckeyes fan. We overreact." What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, no, trust me, man. I've lived. I love the fan part of our fanatics and stuff, but I just always have preached large sample size. Try to keep things in perspective. Let's realize these are not robots. They're not always gonna. Not every game is gonna be the most perfect thing. But yeah, there was stuff that we can work on today. But overall, uh, you know, do I worry that our defense is going to suck this year? No, our defense is too talented to suck. Did I have worries that how Chip Kelly was going to come in with the offense and what's going on with Will Howard and Quinshon Judkins and how good was J.J. Smith really going to be and how good's the offensive line going to be in our tight ends room? What's going to happen with that? Yeah, we had questions. And so, to me, the big story of today was that offensive performance, not the fact that we gave up a couple scores to Marshall. That's just the way. That's just my worldview. That's just the way that I look at it. And hey, that's just me.
Yeah, and I'm like you. Like I thought getting Donnie back was huge. I thought that we mauled up front, and the way we ran the ball today was incredible. There's not enough superlatives in the world with how well trained Quinshon, how efficient, how explosive, the big plays, the big strikes, like those. Yeah, and I feel like we got a lot left in the tank that we haven't really shown. Because again, I don't feel like we ran that many plays today on offense because we scored so many. When you score on, and again, this is a gift and a curse, but when you score 70-yard, 80-yard touchdowns, 50-yard touchdowns, like it takes a lot of your plays off the board, especially when you have those 2-play drives where the second play is a 70-yard touchdown run by Quinshon or whatever. So that the defense ended up playing, I bet they probably played 30 or 40 more plays than the offense did. And the time of possession was all skewed towards Marshall, which again, time of possession doesn't matter, but it just kind of indicates who was on the field longer, obviously. So, but again, I don't care. We won 49-14. I'm going to celebrate it. All right, Nevada, we can wrap this thing up. I know people are dying to watch this Michigan game. It's about to be halftime. Any final thoughts?
I'm just trying to find things to be sad about because I want to be fair and balanced, and I want to be sad about the offense, but I'm just not sad. It was sunny and beautiful on the offensive side of the ball today, and but we can all agree to be sad about the linebackers. How about that? Let's be sad about the linebackers and be sad that Tyleek was out. So I'm on team sad, and team sadness on our kicking thing because there's no way to sunshine pump as much as you want to be a big cuddly bear and sunshine pump about that kicking. There's no way to do it because that was absolutely ridiculous. But Nevadabuck I have the answer to that. So Jaden Field, if you're listening to my voice right now,
Oh my God,
just kick the ball better. The ball's sitting there; it's not moving. There's no wind. There's no nothing. It's not a snap. It's on a tee. Just kick the ball better. So Nevada, I'm here to help. Nevadabuck, the Sunshine Bumper, signing out.
should I get a T-shirt made that says "It's on a tee"?
It's on it. Just kick the ball. It's on a tee. It's
on
literally
tee.
on a tee. It doesn't move. It's on a tee.
I guess you're right. It's not like you're blocking a first-round pick that can kill you and run through you. Like you're just literally doing your thing. So
yeah.
All right. Well, let's wrap this thing up because there's a lot of good football on right now. I know you guys are dying to watch it. So, again, we appreciate you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed our post-game coverage. We will get a little bit of a film breakdown session in tomorrow night. Probably go around 7-ish, not our normal time. We try to go kind of towards the end of the late NFL game. And there's always that late CBS or Fox game. So we always try to go right after that because it's usually a pretty good game. But if you guys enjoy this content, please leave us a like, click subscribe, also click that little alert bell. Again, we appreciate all that you guys do each and every day to support us, to take care of us, to help us out. Again, if you'll do something fantastic, give us a follow on Apple Podcasts and also on Spotify. Again, we appreciate all that you guys do. This is a huge show because you guys make it one. So thank you guys so very much. I hope you guys had a great game day. I love noon games so much because there's so much good football on right now, and Ohio State already has kind of the win in the holster, so now we can just enjoy college football for the rest of the day, folks. So we're going to do that. Again, we appreciate you guys so very much. I hope you guys have a great night with yourself, your family, whoever you're going to be kicking it with. Be safe. Have a good time. I'll be on BuckeyeScoop.com all night on the message boards. We're going to have our game summaries up there pretty quick, but I just appreciate you guys so very much. That being said, thank you so much, Buckeye Nation, and thank you so much to all of you guys so very much. The Scoop family is unbelievable. We're 3-0. We get to go on the road and play the Michigan State Spartans, so we'll get to 4-0. So again, just keep on keeping the faith, folks. I'll talk to you guys tomorrow. You guys have a great rest of your night. Go Bucks.